call this meeting to order. That's why I need these. A report on closed session. We got to start off with, sorry, let's go to 3. Call to order, Pledge of Allegiance, led by Fair Oak students. Mrs. Schatzwell will introduce them. For Jason Riva, Jared Allen, and Aliana Perez. Come on up.
Okay, so Jason, right? Okay, so come on over. I'm going to start with you. And then Jared, you're going to be right here in the middle. Aliana, right over here. Okay, ready to go? Okay, so Jason Riva, you are a 6th grader, correct? And I heard a little bird that you're related to somebody up here, maybe? So maybe one of these days you'll be sitting up in that same spot. We'll see. All right. Well, thank you for coming. Jason Riva is a current student at Fair Oaks Elementary School in Mr. J's 6th grade class. As the solitary gate student in class, he often offers insight in ways that are revelatory to his peers and a perspective that few others possess. He has a driven, creative mind which will serve him well as an aspiring engineer and architect. Wow, I know we have another architect here this evening. What kind of, do you have an idea which area? Not yet? All right. Until that time comes, he's an active athlete playing in the Oakdale Rec Leagues for soccer and basketball. Which one's your favorite? Soccer. And that's going crazy right now. Yeah. As an artist, he has spent 7 years playing piano and participates in the theatrical production at Hutton's Hamlet. But in his spare time, he enjoys delving into web design, coding, and using his hands to build new projects. Very busy. Ever the world traveler, he has enjoyed visiting Spain, France, Italy, and Japan, and his family has their sights on adding Switzerland to their list of adventure locations. That is wonderful. Who did you bring with you tonight? Your parents, where are they?
Do you need a chaperone?
That's exciting, very exciting. Well, thank you for being here. And thank you, parents, for coming. All right, so Jared, we've got you up next. Let me step back so I can see your face. Come right over here. Okay, so Jared Allen, you're a 5th grader, is that right? And somebody works at your school also that you know really well. Who would that be? Oh, my goodness. So you behave always? Because that's always looking, is that right? No. All right, well, we're happy you're here too. So Jared is a 5th grader, and Mrs. Fisher's class at Fair Oaks Elementary. He has a fun personality that brightens up the classroom. He's quick to smile and spreads joy to those around him through jokes and playfulness. Jared wants to go to college at BYU and work in the fast food industry while studying. So when you do go to college, what do you want to do when you're old like your parents? I'm older than your parents, but well, let me see, maybe it does. Oh, after college. After college, he would like to become a flight attendant so he can travel the world. He hopes his travels take him to Portugal one day. You will love it. I've been there. You will definitely love it. Outside of school, he plays baseball and enjoys playing with friends. Mrs. Fisher said, I know that Jared's respectful attitude, joyful personality, and his friendliness will take him far in life, hopefully even to Portugal. That'd be pretty exciting, wouldn't it? So who did you bring besides your parents? Just your parents?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're glad you're here, and we're glad you brought them. Thank you for being here. So stay up here with me. Now, Aliana, you're next. Okay, and Aliana Perez is in the 4th grade. Thank you for being here. Aliana Perez is a 9-year-old 4th grade student in Mr. Zoki's classroom at Fair Oaks Elementary School. She lives with her mother, Mariana, her father, Juan, her older brother, Isaac, and her younger sister, Andrea. Is it Andrea? Aliana dreams of becoming an opera singer when she grows up. That is very exciting. She also loves playing soccer and is a dedicated fullback, a position she enjoys because she likes teamwork and working hard to win the ball back for her team. What's the name of your championship? In her free time, she enjoys making crafts for her and her sister to play with, and her favorite craft to make is inventing board games. She's an excellent student who loves doing classwork and learning new things, and she thinks school is thinks school is fun. Aliana is a leader both in the classroom and at recess. In the classroom, she, always on task, volunteers to help other students and leads by example. On the playground, Aliana always invites others to play and makes sure everyone is included in the game she is playing. That is such a nice trait, because a lot of people don't always get included, so I'm sure they really appreciate you doing that. She is known for being kind, friendly, respectful, and hardworking. So who did you bring with you tonight?
My mom and my dad and my sister.
All right, well, thank you for being here. So you're all going to help me start the pledge, and then we have a certificate for you as soon as we're done, okay? Whenever you're ready, the three of you can go together and lead the pledge.
Ready? Get started.
Oh, yes. Right there. Perfect. Round of applause for them. They did not.
Thank you again for being here tonight and doing that for us.
Awesome, thank you, Tina. Item 4.0, report, actually, if you guys don't want to stay for the rest of the meeting, you don't have to. It's kind of getting a little boring. Yeah, you're good. Oh, she was ready to stay, actually. But moving on, item 4.0, report on action items taken in closed session. On item 2.2.1, in a fact-finding hearing conducted by the governing board, the board finds that there is cause to expel and approves the expulsion of student case number 252601 for violation of Ed Code sections 48900B, 48915A2, 48915B2 for fall semester of 2025 and spring semester of 2026. On item 2.3, the board approved the purchase of the sale agreement for the real property located at 622 Magnolia Street, Oakdale, California. Item 2.4, meeting between OTA and CSEA Chapter 830 with Assistant Superintendent Jose Sanchez involving labor negotiations. No action was taken. 5.0, approval of order of agenda items for this meeting. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda item.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 6.0, announcements. Recognition of Stanislaus County Fair Awards. Principal Mike Moore.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and call you guys up, and I think they want to probably stand up front there and have your picture taken at the end of the group of you. So first in the category of sheep, Dante Manzanti. I don't know if you would have been easier, Dante, if you could have just told me what you didn't win versus what you did win, because it's like about a third of a page here. So Dante took first place in the advanced sheep showmanship, first place in the heavyweight market lamb, FFA heavyweight champion market lamb, reserve FFA champion market lamb, reserve supreme champion market lamb, first place breeding ewe, supreme champion breeding ewe. You thought I was kidding when I said it would have been easier if you just told me what he didn't win. I could have read that off much, much quicker. Also, in the sheep category, Gabriela Gonzalez was first place intermediate sheep showmanship. Madeline Smith was first place in market lamb class. He was not here today, but Hunter Griffin also was a reserve champion natural colored sheep. So those are our sheep recipients from this county fair. Next, into the category of cattle, Aubrey Glaze was first place intermediate beef showmanship.
You guys want to come down this way, we'll kind of build a line here.
Moving to goats, we have Alexa Severa was first place market goat class. Taylor James, first place market goat class. Danica Pizzell, first place market goat class. In our last category of ag mechanics, outstanding wood project, best of show, Dirk Scott. And outstanding welding project, best of show, Cooper Bartholomew, who was actually a graduate of last year's class. So those are this year's county fair winners from Oakdale High School. Advisors Isaac Robles, Kimmer Tavares, and Warren Dayton, who were responsible for helping these kids get to where they were at the fair. Mr. Robles, anything you'd like to say?
Every year our kids, they don't disappoint. We have great families and great parents that get our kids as many opportunities as they can. As teachers and advisors, we just do the best we can to either help out where we need help or to get out of the way. And sometimes either way works really well. Our kids this year in livestock did as well as they always do. We had a lot of graduates that weren't able to be here tonight because they're off at school, and did as well as they possibly can. Our horticulture group is back again. We have that group at the fair this year. As proud as we are of everything else, our ag mechanics group, we were kind of challenged to step up and make some big changes and do some good things in the ag mech shop in the last couple of years, and it paid off. We had the outstanding ag mechanic chapter group. We had the best of show on both the woodworking side and the metalworking side. Our rival school, Turlock, has kind of owned that division for decades, and we won both, and so we were very proud of that. And no matter whether it was goats or sheep or hogs, we were winning chapter groups and clean barn awards and those things. So great year again, and we're looking forward to another big year. Our participation is already looking up. Mr. Hartzell told us our beef numbers are almost double what they were last year already, so that's a sign for everything else. We got a lot of work to do. So anyway, great job, kids. Thank you. We appreciate it.
We love those blue jackets, right? Make a great backdrop for a picture, don't they, Dan? Thank you. Thank you, guys. Congratulations.
That's pretty good. Best welder. Not a welder, I'm a grinder. That's how to solve those problems. But, ooh, that's a shop joke right there. That was, anyways, 7.0, organization report. 7.1, representative for the Oakdale Teachers Association, Omar Salinas.
Good evening. Thank you for taking time to hear me talk this long little speech right here. I'm joking, it's small. It's short, as usual. We currently have 244 members. We are running headfirst into this second month of the school year. Teachers working hard, kids working hard, getting ready for us, at least at the secondary level, getting ready for those first set of progress reports, and then ultimately next month, the end of our first quarter, and I believe the first trimester is in the same month for the lower grades. So yeah, we're working hard, handling business, ready for some negotiations. Looking forward to that. I do have a couple of negotiators here with us today, Mr. John Blong, and our lead negotiator this year, Stacy Graham. So yeah, thank you for your time.
Awesome, thank you. Representative for CSEA Chapter 830, Jay Cox.
Hi, everyone. We're looking forward to sun shining with Jose later in the meeting. Next time we'd like it moved forward on the agenda. But last month, open enrollment closed. It was kind of sad around the district because people were dropping their dependents, dropping their coverage, or outright dropping their insurance and paying a fee to not have insurance here. So that's really what I want the board's attention on. So You know me, I'll call it out, just like minimum wage, don't forget, going up again.
Awesome, thank you. On item 7.3, report by Student Board Representative Samantha Oliveira.
Hello, everyone. As we've started the school year back again, things are going well at the high school, and I've heard the same from all the other schools. At the high school so far, we've had a good start to the school year with a successful back-to-school rally. All of the schools reported having successful back-to-school nights as well. Fall sports are in full spring with girls tennis, girls golf, water polo, football, girls volleyball, girls flag football, and cross country in season. This year at the high school, we will be having Club Rush, and starting at the end of the month, we will be having homecoming week on the 29th. And then over at the junior high, sports have begun, including girls volleyball, flag football, and cross country. They had a successful back-to-school night, or back-to-school dance and Club Rush. And then over at the elementary schools, 6th grade boys and girls basketball tryouts are happening, with some schools starting their practices this week. They also kicked off their Jogathon fundraising for the Jogathon, which will be on October 10th. Finally, at East Stand this month, they will have a presentation from the Electricians Apprenticeship Program, a Universal Technical Institute presentation, and Claim Jumper Day at Columbia College. With school back in session for the past month, there have been many great things going on, and everyone's happy to be back. Thank you.
Thank you.
She was talking about the schools in the high school. I got a message from a parent this evening that our girls varsity golf team competed with, I believe, 18 schools today. They won the whole thing, and only 14 out of 88 students shot under 100, and all of our Oakdale kids did. So, pretty proud of the girls varsity team. Right about that.
Rad. Well done. Thank you for sharing that. Item 8.0, public comments. Public comments will be allowed. The board president will recognize any member of the audience wishing to speak on items not on the agenda, but directly related to school business. The president may allot time to those wishing to speak, but no action will be taken on matters presented. Following Education Code Section 35145.5, individuals with public comments will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes, with a total of 30 minutes designated for the portion of this agenda. Individuals with questions on school district issues may submit them in writing. The board will automatically refer requests to the superintendent. If appropriate, the president or any member of the board may direct that matter to be referred to the superintendent's office for placement on future agenda items. Do we have any?
We do have one from Christy Reba.
Excellent.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. It's circumstantial that today this happened to me, and then there's a board meeting tonight, so I thought, okay, I'm going to go and speak about this today. So I'd like to raise a concern about the PSAT registration process at Oakdale High because of what I experienced today that highlights a real issue with fairness and access. Today at 1:30 p.m., which is the first day that you can go online and purchase the PSAT test, again, 1:30 p.m., I log in to purchase my daughter, a sophomore at Oakdale High School, a test, but they were already sold out. The counseling office confirmed that only 40 seats had been purchased, 20 for each day, with some sold the night before the advertised purchase date. So the advertised purchase date was today. However, some parents were able to log on last night and get some of those seats. Leaving many students, including numerous juniors, unfairly without the opportunity to participate. With roughly, and I don't know the exact numbers, I did a little math, the sophomore and junior classes, made over 700 students, I'm assuming, something like that. So at the high school, this process must be improved by strictly enforcing two things: the purchase dates and enforcing the purchase dates and expanding seat availability. I think we need to ensure that the PSAT registration at Oakdale High is fair and accessible by enforcing the purchase date again and expanding the number of seats available so that all students have an opportunity and equal chance to participate. I also want to ask if there's any way that before this next session comes up in October, if we can purchase more seats for more students.
Yeah.
We can look into that.
I was going to say.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If you're able to either contact the principal at Oakdale High School or the district office, we can follow up on some of your concerns. Thank you.
Yeah, because I know you said dates, but times as well. If it says 1:30, it should be,
Well, no, it was today's date, but some parents were able to log on last night.
okay.
So I went on, what I saying, I went on at 1:30 p.m. today.
Oh, God, and by then it was already sold out.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll look into that.
perfect. That was it?
That was it.
Did anybody else have a public comment that didn't fill out the form? All right, moving on, 9.0 for the consent calendar. 9.1, removal of items from consent calendar. Information concerning consent items has been forwarded to each board member prior to this meeting for study. Unless some board member or members of the audience has a question about a particular item and asks that it be withdrawn from the consent list, the items will be approved one time by the Board of Trustees. The action taken in approving consent items is set forth in the explanation of the individual items. Did anybody have an item they wanted to remove?
I do, 9.4.2 and 9.4.3, please.
9.4.2 and 3. All right, with the, so minus the removal of 9.4.2 and 9.4.3. Did anybody else have anything to remove? So can I get a motion to approve? A second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So disposition, item 10.0, disposition items removed for 9.4.2.
Okay, so both of those are for out-of-state overnight conference attendances by Josh Bennett and Steve Jerikoff for CTE. So, Mr. Moore, what I was thinking was it would be really great if we're going to approve this, which I assume we are, if we could find out, I mean, it's a big deal for them to go all that way and take that time. So I would like to know what they learn and how that improves their programs.
Certainly.
So, because I think it looks like they've been before to the WyoTech one.
The WyoTech one, yes, that's by invite only, so they went back in 2021, and I can tell you what they got out of it.
Well, I saw that, but I'm saying when they go this time, if it gets approved, I think it'd be really nice if they could come back. Well, that wasn't very, that's not what I want to say. I want them to come back and tell us what they got out of it.
Easily.
Okay, perfect.
I can report back on that.
Thanks.
No problem.
That's it.
Okay.
And that was all being paid through by a grant, too.
So this,
Right.
the ACT one, the one in Nashville is paid through the grant. WyoTech, they fly the instructors out, they house them, they pay for their airfare. Site just covers the sub coverage.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good deal, but
Yeah.
I want to see what we're getting.
Yeah, we probably have had a
Sending them.
half a dozen, or I mean, a dozen kids over the last few years go to WyoTech. And then Josh does a separate one at UTI, which is just automotive. And they're in California. Unfortunately, on both of these conferences, they're not in the state of California.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
you bet.
All right, so for items 9.4.2 and items 9.4.3, can I get a motion?
Motion.
And second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So passed unanimously. Moving on to 11.0 for the reports. 11.1, ooh, this one hits close to home for a lot of high school kids. Report on cell phone policy.
Good evening. Tonight I want to highlight some information regarding the shift in the state's phone policy. In September 2024, California passed the Phone-Free Schools Act, Assembly Bill 3216, a law requiring every district, charter school, and county office of education to adopt a policy limiting or even prohibiting student smartphone use while they're in school hours. And that should be in place by July 1st, 2026. It's not optional. It applies statewide with a clear focus on student mental health, academic engagement, and social development. So the Education Code is 48901.7, the Phone-Free School Act, which allows the districts to limit or prohibit student use of cell phone. There are exceptions to this law. Phones can be used in emergencies during a perceived threat or danger, when they have permission from a teacher or an administrator for educational or health purposes, if it is required by a student's individualized education program, or if their health needs and the doctor determines that a smartphone use is necessary for a student's health or well-being. So these are partial informations from each of these documents, but our board policy is found under 5131, the conduct, which says devices should be turned off during the school day. In the student conduct code on page 24, it says students may possess electronic devices, but the devices shall be turned off during the school day. And then our parent notification handbook, which is on page 34, states that students may possess electronic devices, provided that they do not disrupt school activity or the program, educational program. Oakdale's had this policy in place for a number of years. Now it's a law, and districts need to implement the law by July 1st, 2026. Lawmakers are hoping that this is going to emphasize academic focus and social development. So in order to implement these laws, we need parent and guardian support. It's important that parents understand our district policies, that they review and discuss this with their students, that expectations are communicated, talk with your child about appropriate phone use during school hours. This is a really important one. Cell phone or text your students only before and after school, not during the school day. Support school consequences. Back up our efforts if your child doesn't follow the rules. And then remind your students we have office phones, and they can go to the office to call, and you can call your student in case of an emergency at each site. Last board meeting, Mrs. Taylor mentioned that she really wants to know what's going on at our secondary sites. So I met with Mr. Moore and Mr. April to review protocol there. At Oakdale High School, all 3 vice principals visited every single English class before the first full week, discussing key points, a lot of conduct code, but cell phone rules and regulations were the first topic. A Google form was created for teachers. They can fill that out when a phone has to be taken in class, and they can use their radios to get a campus monitor to pick that phone up and bring it to the office. All students were emailed about the cell phone policy and social media posts about phone use on campus, and then a reminder to teachers that there are expectations regarding board policy and our conduct code. At Oakdale Junior High School, administration spoke to each PE class to discuss rules regarding use of cell phones on campus. This is an ongoing process, and they review a lot of the conduct code during those times. Signs are posted around campus and in classrooms with reminders not to use cell phones on campus. Social media posts reminding parents, guardians, and students about school policies. Staff reminders that cell phone policies and expectations, what we are expecting of teachers as well. Principal emails parents every Sunday with reminders about conduct code rules, and this includes cell phone use on campus. The expectation of our district is that phones are off and put away during the school day. So cell phone enforcement at sites. In our conduct code, it says possession or use of any personal belonging that's not used for educational purposes and items a school administrator identifies as disruptive. This is Ed Code 48900K. And in our cell phone policy, which again is on our conduct code page 24, it outlines our expectations for that. Our board policy, our student conduct code, parent handbook all state that phones are off and put away during school hours. Our consequences are progressive. First offense is usually a warning or item confiscated, returned to the student at the end of the day. Second offense, item is confiscated, returned to the parent at the end of the school day, or it could be a detention or in-house suspension. Third offense, item confiscated, returned to parents, and again, 1 to 3 day detention or in-house suspension. If it's an ongoing situation, they will meet with parents and explain that this can't continue. These are our rules. Here's some data from both Oakdale High School and Oakdale Junior High School for the last 4 years. Numbers have fluctuated, but they've decreased over the 4 years. Oakdale High School kind of broke it into all totals for the 4 years, and then by grade level, and then by males and females.
Okay, I have a bunch of questions about that section right there. Do you want to wait till the end, or do you want to do it now?
Go over 'em.
Okay, and I'm not sure you're going to be able to answer these, but I know Jeff and Mike might be able to do that for me. So I'm looking at these numbers, and we have twice as many kids at the high school than we do at the junior high, but yet the junior high has a lot more documented violations. Is that because there's better enforcement? Is that because there actually are a difference in incidents? That's one thing. Then I'm looking at the breakdown of this, because we've got first offense, second offense, third offense. So all of these cell phone violations are lumped together number-wise, right? So we don't know which are first offense, which are second offense, and which are third offense. So I'm curious, and I don't expect you to be able to tell me right now, but I would like a follow-up on this that you could just send us. I apologize again, Catherine, for causing you more work. I really thought it was going to be Mike and Jeff that had to do it, so you can thank me later for that, I know. Sorry. But I'm just wondering, how many do we get to the third offense? I mean, how many of these numbers, we've got for 24-25 for the junior high, we've got 468, and we've got 390 total for the high school. How many of those were third offense? Are we talking a small percentage of that, or I'm kind of really curious, because I'm thinking we know our expectation, but what's the reality of what's really happening in the classrooms? Kids that I've talked to, depending on whether they're in AP classes versus other classes, they say some teachers don't care, some teachers tell you to put it away. Well, my fear is we're going to go down the road of that we have with the dress code, which is pretty much wear whatever you want, nobody gives a crap anymore. Sorry, but that's the truth. And I see it, and I just think, it's tough. It's a tough thing. The teachers are already doing so much. Our staff is already doing so much. They get complaints, they just have a lot going on, besides just teaching what they're supposed to be teaching. And I don't want to add to that, but if we are going to have a policy, darn it, we need to make sure we do what we're supposed to with that policy. So if that means that we have to get in there and admin has to start saying, no, I've been in your classroom, I walked through your classroom, and I see kids with their phones out. This is on you. Get them to put their phones away, and if they don't, then send them up. I want to express my absolute desire to make sure that we stop this, because I don't agree with a lot of the liberal stuff that goes around in the state of California, but I do agree that cell phones are not, in general, good for most kids in the amount of time that they spend on them and what they do with them. So I know I just rambled a lot, but I'm curious if the cell phone discipline has gone down in regards to taking pictures and sending them. And I mean, it's horrible for some of the kids what they've had to go through over the last few years. There's a lot of things that I'm just grateful that when I was in high school, we didn't have cell phones, because I wouldn't want people to be seeing all the things that you do when you're stupid and you're a teenager, right? And so I want some more information, but I want people to be held accountable. And it starts with parents helping us to make sure that they hold their kids accountable and don't send them with this if they know they can't abide by it. And, I just had a kid that graduated 2 years ago, and I had to deal with him and his cell phone when he was a sophomore. And it's not fun, but that's our job, right? So I got tired of getting a phone call from a certain teacher that he had his phone out. But that's my responsibility to take care of it at that point. So that's kind of where I am. And I'm just speaking for myself. I am not speaking for everyone else. Okay.
We can run it through, let me know how many people were first offense, second offense, third offense, so.
Okay.
And that can be me, I can, somebody smart can do it for me.
So when you're walking through classrooms, you're seeing less.
Correct.
Anecdotally, you can tell me that you are seeing less usage. Okay, what about out on campus when it's passing period or that kind of thing? I mean, are they out or are they put away?
We're not bothering passing period,
Okay.
someone that's talking and not going to talk.
Okay.
Ms.
The
Moore, what,
classrooms comes down to enforcement.
Correct. Yeah, I just know that the policy talks about they're not supposed to be on at all during the school day.
One of the hardest parts for the high school is they have off-campus
Lunch. Mm-hmm.
and it's,
Sure.
parents sometimes want their phones on while they're off campus, just so that they can.
Well, I have no problem with that.
Right.
But I'm mostly talking about instructional time.
Right.
I was just curious if
And
you've
it
seen the
is
same thing.
And both at the junior high school and the high school, on back-to-school nights when I was going in classrooms, teachers were commenting on that. They were talking to parents about phones are off, we don't use them during class time.
Okay.
and I've seen that more this year than in the past.
Good. Those are good things. I hope that
I can say,
continues.
just from a parent's perspective, I went into all of I was 12th grade, 10th grader, and every teacher spoke to that issue.
Good. I hope they're following up on it. Yeah. Yeah, Omar, do you have anything have you guys had discussions about that at all? Yeah, always. Yeah. Reminders. Okay. Do you feel like it's gotten better with the more concentrated? Yeah. Okay. Good. Great.
We can
I-
continue to keep data.
Yeah, yeah, I would actually like to know how much of this is, yeah. It's like, I'm thinking maybe this might be a typo, that in 22, 23, the ninth graders only had one transgression, maybe? I don't know, because then the next year when they became 10th graders, it was 253. Yeah, and I thought, wow, okay. But then maybe there are teachers that are primarily sophomore teachers that hammer them more, right? I mean, we all know there are stricter and less strict, so, yeah. Okay, all right.
But my question is the handful of kids that I speak to that go to high school, is the first reply I get to them about, when I talk with them about cell phones, is that teachers using their cell phone. Teacher gives us something to do at our desk, we're doing something at our desk. I look up and the teacher's on their phone. If they're on their phone, and why can't I be on my phone?
Yeah, we have that same conversation.
I mean, what is the policy, we talk about it, or?
Well, again, if we see a teacher on it, we're gonna call that teacher out.
And that was communicated when I met with both Mr. Moore and Mr. April, that they are talking about that in their staff meetings. They're bringing it up to their staff that phones need to be put away during class time.
I just do want to insert one thing there. We do have to remember that we're talking about adults versus teenagers too. So sometimes adults, for whatever reason, might need to do that, and I don't think we need to take that away from them. But you obviously would see if it was a problem over and over again, and a teacher wasn't teaching, were spending time on their phone, and that has to be addressed. But two different issues as far as like just the level that we expect.
To play devil's advocate, though, we do have them utilize their phones to sign out when they go to the bathroom, because there's a QR code by the door. So we're still basically saying, we'd like you to have your phone on you to pull it out, so you can log out, use the bathroom, and come back.
I discussed that with Ms. Klein, and they do have their phone, they will scan out, but they leave the phone on the teacher's desk when they're scanned out.
Oh, they do?
That's what I was told from Mrs. Klein, that's what
Okay.
they're supposed to be doing.
Okay, cool. Because that's on back to school night, I was like,
But then, yeah.
so we're telling them not to have their phones out, but they gotta use their phones if they gotta use the restroom, but leave it on the thing. That makes sense.
And that was developed because of safety issues and making sure we know how long kids are in the bathroom, and if they're staying too long, or if we can't find somebody.
Yeah, oh, I fully agree with that, yeah.
So that makes it, that's kind of a tricky one, because then phones aren't off, but they can turn it on, scan it, go to the restroom, use their phone, come back. Turn it back off.
Sam, do you have anything to add? I'm curious what you think about the issue.
Yeah.
You're there every day.
Yeah, I would say what I'm hearing is all true. I think it probably has gotten a little bit better. There's been more enforcement this year, I'd say, but it still does depend on the teacher. Some are super strict. I know the Spanish school, or the Spanish teachers, are extremely strict with signs everywhere. Maybe a little too much, but it does work, so I guess it's not too much. But yeah, it depends on the teacher, I'd say, and I think it could be more strongly enforced in some classes, for sure, and I would say that the ones that it is strongly enforced, nobody tries to go against it.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And that's kind of what I hear from the handful of kids I speak with once in a while, is that some teachers, really a handful, really go by it. And one kid told me, oh, after 1 month in school, it kind of goes away. They don't enforce it anymore. So hopefully we're, because I am a true believer that cell phones are no good.
Oh, it's like anything, if you don't pay attention to it and address it, then it'll backslide, just the way it is.
The timing on this report was rather convenient, though, because I had a student reach out to me through email and let me know. One, I commended her for saying, good job on you to figure out who your local representatives are and how to get hold of me and to use email. But her main complaint was, my phone got taken for the entire day. And I said, so luckily, what is sitting in my lap at the time is the entire report on the cell phone policy, and I let her know, hey, by the way, this is actually law. This is not a guideline. We're not asking you. I said, this is policy, right? These are the rules. If we don't follow the rules, then we have chaos in society. So it was a great, I think, teaching moment. I also invited her to the board meeting, but she didn't seem to come tonight, so hopefully she's paying attention at home. My actual question, which kind of ties in with what Terry said, was the junior high has half the amount of students, yet it had a 21 overall % increase of basically kind of these moments. But then I thought, is that because maybe it's being enforced more at the junior high than it is the high school? Or it's just they are still so young, they're not paying attention at all? Or maybe a little bit of both. But I just kind of ran the numbers. I kept looking. I'm like, well, the junior high has half the students, but more, yeah.
I think part of that also might be that at the junior high, if you're on it during passing period, it can get taken and be a violation. But here at the high school, it's not. You can be on it during passing period, from what
got it.
I've aware of.
That's a good point.
So
Jeff,
if I was
is it
just wandering
more?
the halls, I could start yanking phones. Boop, boop. There you go. Yeah.
Is it, do you have more in passing periods or in the classroom at the junior high, would you say?
Some kids take them out of passing period, those affect their level, but the
Uh-huh.
majority of ours are
Oh, okay.
when they leave the classroom to go to the restroom and go off and put the cell phone in hand. Rare is it that we actually have a large number of teachers collecting phones and turning them against administrators during that hour. But also the junior high kids, they're fresh out of elementary, so they're sensing very quickly. Two experiences, whether it's young, whether it's rest, or whether it's already or so on. They're quick and ready to work with to see where the boundaries are at. So I think a lot of that is they're not as good. The cell phone's gonna work in these passing periods. They're not as good. But honestly, go out and just watch. They work for the building sometimes. You didn't notice me just turning, stuff in my pocket. Yeah, we did. And so
Right,
we call
right.
out. As for more than the high school, I can't answer that. I can just say that we've got a lot of kids, when we catch them, most of them are good.
Well, maybe we get good enforcement at the junior high. We will have less opportunities to have to deal with it at the high school.
Only one in 2022.
Yeah, right.
Great class.
Any more questions?
Well, I just have a couple.
Oh, yep.
Oh, yeah. Keep going, sorry.
So, next steps, the implementation deadline is July 1st, 2026. Districts are required to clearly share what we're doing, our policies that are put into place, and seek input from our students, parents, and staff. So this will be through a committee or surveys that we will be setting up. We are expected to regularly review and update the policies to ensure that they're effective and compliant every 5 years. And again, the goal of this whole law is to address the negative impacts of excessive phone use, including increased anxiety and depression, and help create a more focused and safe environment and space at our sites. This is my contact. If you want to call or email me and want further information on those partial documents that I had in one of the slides, this is the way to get a hold of me. Any other questions at this time?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think you have one right there.
Oh, sorry,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh.
I just think that, like for the younger kids and stuff, when the yard duties and stuff, go and tell them, you know, you need to pick the phone up, that the admin needs to follow through on things, you know, helping the yard duties and stuff to, so that the kids listen to the yard duties, I would say, because some yard duties will tell them, you know, you're not allowed to have your cell phones, but then the kids will go to say like a principal, and the principal says, just don't use it around the other ones.
Enforcers, that's what we need. All right, perfect. Thank you, Catherine. Let's move on to 12.0. We're going to start the roll call vote, or hang on. We got to get to public hearing. Yeah. So open a public hearing to present information on initial proposals to modify the agreement between the Oakdale Teachers Association and the Oakdale Joint Unified School District. Jose Sanchez.
Good evening, Board President Skemper, fellow board members, Superintendent Mendoza, and audience. The California Collective Bargaining Law, the ROTA Act, requires a public hearing to be held to provide the public information on Oakdale Joint Unified School District's initial proposal to begin negotiations with both bargaining units for the 25-26 school year. I'm here to open up our negotiating window, known as Sunshining, with both bargaining groups. I would like to start with our initial proposal from our district, Oakdale Joint Unified School District, to the Oakdale Teachers Association, also known as OTA, as recognized in Article 3 of the Collective Bargaining Agreement. As outlined in this article, the 2025-2026 requires OJUSD and OTA to negotiate the language for a successor agreement, which includes the following: salary, Article 32, salary, Article 33, health and welfare benefits, and any articles of our choosing. A successor agreement basically means we're going to reopen the contract. Okay. Tonight, I would like to share our initial proposal to our OTA president, Omar Salinas, and lead negotiator, Stacy Brown. As tradition has it, we exchange proposals.
Awesome. We'll close that hearing. Open the next hearing to present information to modify the agreement between the California School Employees Association, Chapter 830, and the Oakdale Joint Unified School District.
We continue with the same process with our California School Employee Association, CSEA, Chapter 830. As recognized in their collective bargaining unit or agreement, Article 23, the 25-26 requires Oakdale Joint Unified School District and CSEA to negotiate the following: 2 articles of our choosing as a district, 2 articles of their choosing, plus salary and benefits. Tonight, I would like to welcome Jake Cox, CSEA President, to exchange proposals.
Perfect. Thank you. I believe that now we're on to 12.3. Thank you, Jose. Approval of prior year financial report, unaudited actuals, Sandra Booth.
I'm excited to share with you our prior year financials. I know, boring, but it's fun for me. So we'll talk about sort of what are unaudited actuals, and we'll talk some highlights that had occurred during 24-25, overall our general fund, and what's coming up next. The report itself is posted on the district website and has been provided to our board members tonight. So what are unaudited actuals? This is a district-prepared financial statement that summarizes all the information throughout the course of the years using the standardized account code structure dictated by the state. Our auditors use this report to file our annual financial report at the end of the year. But the biggest thing that this report does is it identifies the funds that have been unspent over the course of 24-25 that will need to be carried over into 25-26. We carry over funds from one year to the next, particularly in specific grants. So we have the board-approved adopted budget for 25-26 that was approved by the board in June. Now here we are in September for our prior year unaudited actuals up at the top. So what we'll do is we'll take our unaudited actual report and then bring in our prior year carryover into our first interim report that'll be going to the board in December. So we'll be able to, we've identified those dollars that will be carried over that still need to get expended based off the terms of those grants. So that's what this report does, and so that's why our first interim will be different than our adopted budget, is because of today's report. So some highlights. Over the course of the year, we did decline by 43 students from October of 24 through October of 23. We had a 43 student decline. We also saw our average daily attendance at P2, which is about April 15th, decline by almost 50 students from one year to next. So we're declining about, on average, 1% of average daily attendance every year. But due to the state doing now districts being funded on an average of the last 3 years, we were funded on a higher amount of 4883 for 24-25. We did have some facility projects that we had started in 23-24 but didn't get completed until 24-25. We did a re-roofing on phase 2. We had 2 new portables at Cloverland that were completed, as well as new play structures and a shade structure at Fair Oaks, and that was also in part through our parent-teacher organization at that site. We helped split fund that. But the biggest thing that Oakdale does, and we do right, is that our money goes where it needs to be, which is in instruction of our students. 64% of our total expenditures during 24-25 was on the direct instruction of our students. That includes our classroom teachers, our instructional aides, our textbooks, our workbooks, and all those items that they need every day to teach our students. That's where we're putting our money, which is where it needs to be. We also provide additional supports, and that includes our instructional supports, like our office staff and our principals and our vice principals. That was 9%. And our pupil services, that's our counselors, our nurses, our transportation department. All those 3 areas combined are direct services to our students, and that makes 85% of our budget. So most of our money is going where it needs to be, which is to our students and to our student supports. We, of course, need to maintain our facilities, so we have 9% in maintenance and operations, which includes our custodians, our grounds, our maintenance technicians. And then we have general administration, so our superintendent's business, human resources, and our insurance. That all comes in that 6%. So very little on general administration costs for our district during 24-25. Our overall general fund, $83.3 million in total expenditures, with almost 75% coming through the local control funding formula. We also had some prior carryover from 23-24 that were included in our revenue at $1.5 million. Also had some other grants. $85.7 million in expenses. That includes, of course, all our step and column, our CalPERS. We also did a one-time salary schedule this year of $4,000 for our employees. That's all included in this. 77% of our general fund budget was spent on our employees' salary and benefits. The majority of our funds, of course, are going to those services for our students. Overall, we did see a net surplus in our unrestricted of about $400,000. Is that gray line? We also had a deficit in our restricted. That's because we're spending down those grants that we've been receiving through COVID and CARES Act and all those other one-time funds. But we do still have a balance in our restricted fund balance, and that's this category here. So these are all the state grants and federal grants that we have been given, that we have dedicated dollars. The state says, or Fed said, you have to spend it in this area. So that's outlined there, so it has to remain in those categories. So that $9.5 million, majority of it will be going and put into our current year adopted budget, continue to spend within those programs dictated by the state and federal government. One time, yes. These are all one-time dollars every year. And then, of course, we have our board committed fund balance, and that equals $10.7 million for the end of 24-25. So what's up next? We're still monitoring the state situation. As we know, the majority of our funds comes from the state of California. So as the state does well in their taxes, we do well in our budget. When they do bad, we do bad. We're very closely tied to the state of California's overall economy. We're also continuing to monitor our enrollment and our attendance levels, because that, of course, funds funds us in general. As Mr. Cox pointed out, minimum wage is going up again. It's going up to $16.90 in January that we're still needing to address. And as we sunshine with our partners today, we still begin contract negotiations, and that will be coming up over the course of the year. But biggest thing is in October, getting that enrollment count. That's first Wednesday in October. We really want to make sure that our families complete the free meals and other applications to making sure that we can get our unduplicated student count. That includes like our low income, our fosters, English learners, and our homeless students. That unduplicated count is a big part of our LCFF calculation in our general fund. So it's not just about the meals that our kids all get free. It's also about the revenue that we get in our general fund to support the extra services that all of our students get. So we need them to complete those applications, even if it is a hassle every year. In December, I'll be bringing, again, like I talked about, our first interim report. That'll show the carryover, as well as our annual financial report will be released from our auditors and presented to you in December for 24, 25, 25, 26. And then in January, we'll be seeing our 26, 27 governor's budget proposal. So there's quite a few years going in just a few months there. So that'll be coming up here shortly. Is there any questions from our unaudited actual report tonight? Quiet audience. All right.
All right.
Well, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. It is posted on the district's website. Thank you.
Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve the prior year financial report.
Second? All those in favor? Aye. Yeah, I was going to say.
I forgot.
Yeah, so 12.4, adoption of resolution 252603, the GAN limit appropriations.
Yes. We have to do a calculation at the end of every year to determine if we have met the established maximum appropriation limitations. This is called the GAM limit. This was Proposition 4. And this is in accordance, the calculations are done by the software which we submit our financial statements, so the software actually does that calculation for us, and it is presented with you here tonight, along with a resolution. I ask that the board waive the reading of the resolution tonight and approve our GAN limit. Unless you really want me to read it, I'll be happy to, but I ask that you don't.
Yeah.
Please.
So can I get a motion?
So moved.
Go ahead.
Second.
Second.
This is going to require a roll call vote, so Board Member Gilbert.
Aye.
Board Member Duval.
Aye.
Board Member Shatswell. Board Member Taylor.
Aye.
Student Board Member Olivera. And myself, aye. So passes unanimously. Thank you, Cassandra. Item 12.5, public hearing for approval of Resolution 252604, provision of sufficient textbooks and instructional materials. Gillian Wegner.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, I was supposed to do the thing. There we go.
Feel better now.
Public hearing.
Yeah, sorry. Public hearing.
So, this is our annual resolution regarding sufficiency of instructional materials. So each year, the Board of Trustees must certify that each pupil in the district has sufficient textbooks and/or instructional materials aligned to the content standards adopted by the State Board of Education and/or Common Core standards adopted pursuant to education codes, as listed there, which are consistent with the content of the curriculum frameworks adopted by the State Board of Education in math, science, and English language arts, including the English language development program as appropriate. This resolution certifies that the district has met these requirements. I have met with each site principal to confirm that this requirement has been met at each school site. So it is recommended that the Board of Trustees conduct a public hearing for approval of Resolution 252604 regarding sufficiency of instructional materials. And I would be happy to read the resolution, but I would ask that you waive the reading if you'd like.
Perfect. Does anybody have any questions? So with that being said, can I get a motion? Oh, I got to close it first. All right, thank you. End of public hearing. Now let's do 12.6, approval of resolution 252604, provision of sufficient textbooks and/or instructional materials. I need a motion. Not everybody at once.
I'll make it.
There we go. Second.
Second.
And this also requires a roll call vote. Board Member Gilbert.
Aye.
Board Member Duval.
Aye.
Board Member Shatswell. Board Member Taylor.
Aye.
Student Board Member Olivera. And myself, aye. That passes unanimously. 12.7, second reading and approval to update for artificial intelligence. Also, Gillian Wegner.
So last month, I brought forward these revisions to Board Policy and Exhibit 440, Board Policy 5131, Board Policy 6154, and Board Policy 6162.5. And based on some of the suggestions from last time, I added a couple of things. They're in the policy in pink now. So in Board Policy 4040, Employee Use of Technology, I added in, based on suggestions, applying contemporary statewide standards and local standards and considerations, appeals to the prurient interest and its matter which visually, verbally, or in writing depicts or describes. And so that's the addition. And then in Board Policy 6154, homework and makeup work, I added a very brief, as soon as I find it, there it is. I added very briefly just that extra descriptor that for students shall receive credit for work that is completed late in order to encourage their continued learning. And the added part is teachers may establish expectations and deadlines for the acceptance of late work. So it's very clear who is putting that into place. Those are the only changes from last month. Does anybody have any questions?
Who brought up the local standards and considerations?
That was me.
That was genius, because I was just going over.
What'd you say? It was what?
I'll give it a second compliment. Well, I was just going over like a bunch of the assembly bills earlier today, and one of our main arguments for 494 is because we're constantly battling the state for local control. The point of a school board is the fact that we have local control. So I think it was very wise to make that in writing, local standards considerations, because we need to make sure that we're addressing this for our kids.
Community.
Yeah,
Agreed.
so,
And it
well done.
therefore also matches the student use of technology board policy that you revised in June.
Yes, with the in writing. Me and my writing, yeah, there you go. So does anybody have any other questions? Then can I get a motion? A second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And 12.8, second reading and approval, Board Policy 6142.91, Reading Language Arts Instruction. Gillian.
So revising Board Policy 6142.91 elucidates the rules pertaining particularly to the reading difficulties risk screener and trims down previous language to be more efficient. Most of the policy is just expanded to include information about the reading difficulties risk screener, which is now annually to be given to students in kindergarten, first grade, and second grade.
Perfect. Any questions? We do need to vote on that as well, too. Can I get a motion?
I move that we accept the Board Policy 6142.91 as presented.
And a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. 12.9, approval of architectural contracts under Series A bonds, funding for new Fair Oaks classroom building. Mr. Mendonça.
Thank you, President Skimper. Of the list of priority projects that were approved on August 11th, a classroom building to be built at Fair Oaks Elementary School. We'll begin the process of replacing all of the old and failing portables that we have in the district. After considering proposals, Pacific Program Management, who's with us tonight, thank you for enduring a few minutes with us. They procured Pratt Architecture for the design and the plans for the Fair Oaks Classroom Building Project. Therefore, I recommend the Board of Trustees approve the contract with Pratt Architecture for the Fair Oaks Building Project as presented.
Any questions? Nope. Well, all right then. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
So thank you, gentlemen, for being here. That was 13.0, information. Mr. Mendonça.
Okay, on 13.0, we have College and Career Expo happening in the main gymnasium on September 18th. This is a very productive event where we have a number of colleges and career opportunities for students to explore. That goes from 5 o'clock to 7:30 p.m. We will be hosting our Powder Puff game at the stadium at 7 p.m. September 22nd. Should be noted that this is not during homecoming week. Typically in the past, it has been during homecoming week, but we've gotten away from that due to scheduling issues. So that will be September 22nd. We do have a minimum day coming up for staff development. That's K-12 across the district on September 24th. We will be making announcements to parents to remember that September 24th is a minimum day. 13.4, Fair Oaks is hosting a family music night at the Fair Oaks cafeteria on September 24th as well. That will be occurring at 6 o'clock p.m. Our high school band will be participating in the Pittman Band Review. That's in Turlock on September 27th. 13.6, we are announcing that Oakdale High School Homecoming Week will be September 29th through October 3rd. 13.7 is the Oakdale Homecoming Parade, which is happening that Friday of Homecoming Week, October 3rd, 145 to 205 down G Street. The football game, homecoming game, will start at 5 o'clock for the JV team, 7:30 p.m. for the varsity game. 13.8, our elementary jogathon, tremendous fundraiser for our schools, is occurring October 10th. More information to come at the schools about that. And then finally, item 13.9, our next minimum day will be next month, October 10th. That's also a staff development day, kindergarten through 12th grade.
Perfect.
What's the family music night?
Yeah, it'll be a night where our music teacher will host families and kind of show what he's been doing with the students and have instruments out and have a good time.
That's cool.
Cool. I wasn't sure if it was like a dance party or what, so I was coming either way, but yeah.
It's a dance party.
Yeah, all right. I just need to know what shoes to wear. That's it. All right, items 14.0, items for next or future agenda. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add?
No.
I'm
Not
actually
me.
curious about the question that was raised with regards to the PSAT. I mean, it's not making sense to me that there are only so many spaces.
Right.
So I don't know that I necessarily want to report on it, but, you know, what I would be curious about is how that process works. I mean, it would seem to me there would be some query, whether it's in the English classes or whatever, about how many students are interested in taking not just the PSAT, but the SAT, you know, the AP classes. So if we do have to have a count of some sort, that we would know what those numbers are. I mean, I don't know if we're just throwing a dart or, yeah, I just don't know. I don't know how that works.
We'll get that information to the board and we'll respond back to the parent in regards to how that process occurs and then what we'll have in place for next time.
Well, then the other thing that I'm curious with regards to all three of those tests is we shouldn't have a situation, and I don't know if we do, I don't know if we don't, but it should not be financially prohibited for a student to be able to take these tests. I mean, if there's an affordability issue, that's something that I think we should look at.
I think there is something in place. in
Yeah,
regards to
there
that.
is. There is.
So,
Maybe just let us know.
Provided it's
Definitely.
Okay, that's it.
Perfect. Anything else? Then item 15.0, next meeting, Monday, October 13th, 2025 at 6:30 PM in open session at OJUSD Technology and Staff Development Center, 331 Hinckley Avenue, Oakdale, California. Adjournment.
It seems late in October, but it seems early in November.
I know, and it's always, Columbus Day, like for some people,